Have you ever really thought about the chair you are sitting on? It seems so simple, so mundane. But what if I told you that this humble piece of furniture has a history that is as rich and complex as human civilization itself? A story of power, status, revolution, and art. Today, we are going on an incredible journey through time to uncover the secret history of the chair. From a symbol of the gods to a staple in every home, this is a story you won't want to miss. So, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Our story begins over 5,000 years ago, under the scorching sun of ancient Egypt. Here, in the land of pharaohs and pyramids, the chair was not for everyone. In fact, for the vast majority of people, sitting meant squatting on the ground or on a simple reed mat. The chair was the ultimate status symbol, reserved exclusively for the most powerful person in the kingdom, the pharaoh. Think about Tutankhamun's famous golden throne. It wasn't just a place to sit. It was a declaration of his divine right to rule. Lavishly decorated with gold, precious stones, and intricate carvings of gods and protective symbols, the pharaoh's chair was a masterpiece of craftsmanship. It elevated him, both literally and figuratively, above everyone else. These early chairs were often made from ebony and ivory, with legs carved to resemble the paws of a lion or the hooves of a bull, symbolizing strength and authority. Even lesser nobles and officials had stools, but the chair with a backrest and armrests? That was reserved for the top. So, the next time you lean back in your chair, remember its origins as an object of immense power, a throne fit for a king. As the Roman Empire fell and Europe entered the Middle Ages, the chair's story continued, but its role as a status symbol remained firmly in place. Life for most people was rugged and simple. In the smoky halls of medieval castles or the humble cottages of peasants, furniture was sparse and purely functional. People sat on rough-hewn benches, chests, or simple three-legged stools that were easy to make and stable on uneven earthen floors. The chair, a proper, four-legged seat with a back, was still a rarity. It belonged to the lord of the manor or the bishop of the church. This was the era of the Gothic style, and chairs reflected that. They were heavy, imposing, and architectural. Think of a grand, throne-like chair made of dark oak, with a tall, straight back, often featuring pointed arches, intricate carvings of religious scenes, or the family's coat of arms. These weren't designed for comfort. They were designed to command respect. When the lord held court, he sat in his chair, while everyone else stood or sat on lower benches. The chair was a physical manifestation of the feudal hierarchy. It wasn't a piece of furniture. It was an instrument of authority. Then came the Renaissance, a dazzling period of rebirth in art, science, and culture, sweeping across Europe from the 14th to the 17th century. And as you might expect, this explosion of creativity completely transformed the chair. While it still signified wealth and status, it was no longer just about stark authority. It became a canvas for artistic expression. Italian, French, and English craftsmen began to create chairs that were not only symbols of power but also works of art. The heavy, rigid forms of the Gothic era gave way to more opulent and decorative designs. We see the introduction of luxurious materials like walnut, and chairs were often adorned with rich velvet or embossed leather upholstery. Carvings became more elaborate and classical, featuring scrolls, cherubs, and motifs inspired by ancient Greece and Rome. One iconic example is the Dante or Savonarola chair, an X-frame folding chair that was both elegant and portable, a favorite among the wealthy merchant class in Florence. These chairs were displayed proudly in the grand palazzas and chateaux of the elite, signaling not just their owner's rank, but also their taste, education, and worldliness. The Renaissance chair was a statement piece, a blend of comfort, craftsmanship, and high culture. The 18th century arrived, and with it, a new level of elegance and refinement. This was the age of enlightenment, of grand courts like Versailles, and the chair became even more specialized and stylish. In France, a whole new vocabulary for seating emerged. There was the fauteuil, a comfortable armchair with open sides, and the bergère, a more enclosed armchair with upholstered sides, perfect for ladies' grand dresses. Styles evolved rapidly, from the ornate, curving lines of the Rococo period under Louis XV to the straight lines and classical motifs of the neoclassical style inspired by the discoveries at Pompeii and Herculaneum under Louis XVI. In England, legendary designers like Thomas Chippendale, George Hepplewhite, and Thomas Sheraton published patterned books that spread their influential designs far and wide. Chippendale, for example, masterfully blended Gothic, Rococo, and Chinese influences into his iconic mahogany chairs. These pieces were no longer just for the highest royalty. The growing upper middle class, the merchants, and professionals could now afford to furnish their homes with fashionable chairs. The chair was becoming a key part of interior design, a way to express personal style and social aspiration. It was a golden age for the cabinet maker, and the chairs they produced are still considered masterpieces of furniture design today. And then, everything changed. The 19th century brought the Industrial Revolution, and with it, the most dramatic shift in the history of the chair. The roar of steam engines and the clatter of machinery replaced the quiet workshops of individual craftsmen. For the first time ever, chairs could be mass-produced. This was a revolution. Suddenly, chairs were no longer the exclusive property of the rich. Thanks to new manufacturing techniques, like steam-powered saws and lathes, furniture could be made quickly, cheaply, and in huge quantities. The Austrian Thonet No. 14 chair is the perfect example. Michael Thonet perfected a method for steam-bending solid wood, allowing him to create an elegant, lightweight, and durable chair from just 6 pieces of wood. It was affordable, easy to assemble, and could be shipped flat-packed all over the world. By 1930, over 50 million of them had been sold. The No. 14 became the chair of Viennese cafes, Parisian bistros, and countless homes. It democratized style. For the first time in history, ordinary working families could afford to own a set of matching, well-designed chairs. The chair had finally completed its journey from a throne of power to an everyday object for the masses. As we entered the 20th century, the revolution in chair design went into overdrive. The focus shifted from decoration to function, fueled by the modernist belief that form follows function. Architects and designers began to experiment with brand new industrial materials that had never been used for furniture before. Think of Marcel Breuer's Wassily chair, designed in 1925. Inspired by the handlebars of a bicycle, he used bent tubular steel to create the chair's frame, a radical departure from wood. Then came designers like Ludwig Mies van der Rohe with his elegant Barcelona chair, and Le Corbusier with his iconic LC4 chaise longue. These weren't just chairs, they were manifestos for a new way of living. The post-World War II era saw another explosion of creativity. Charles and Ray Eames pioneered the use of mold plywood and fiberglass to create organic, sculptural forms that were both beautiful and comfortable, like their famous lounge chair and ottoman. In the 60s, plastic took center stage, leading to playful, pop art designs like Werner Panton's S-shaped Panton chair, the first to be made from a single piece of mold plastic. The 20th century tore up the rulebook, transforming the chair into a laboratory for innovation and modern art. And that brings us to today, the 21st century. So, what is the state of the chair now? Well, we are living in an incredibly diverse era. We've inherited all the history that came before, but we are also facing new challenges and priorities. 2 major trends define the contemporary chair: ergonomics and sustainability. With so many of us spending hours a day sitting at desks, the science of comfortable and healthy sitting has become paramount. Office chairs are now marvels of engineering, with adjustable lumbar support, armrests, and dynamic mechanisms designed to move with our bodies and prevent strain. Think of the Herman Miller Aeron chair, a symbol of the modern workplace that prioritized function and ergonomics over traditional aesthetics. At the same time, there's a growing awareness of our environmental impact. Designers are increasingly using sustainable, recycled, or renewable materials. We are seeing chairs made from reclaimed wood, recycled plastic bottles, and even innovative materials like mycelium or compressed agricultural waste. Today's chair is a fusion of high-tech and eco-conscious design. It has to be comfortable, functional, beautiful, and kind to the planet. From a divine throne in ancient Egypt to an ergonomic, sustainable seat in our homes and offices, the chair has been on an extraordinary journey. It has reflected our social structures, our artistic tastes, our technological advancements, and our values. It has been a symbol of power, a work of art, a product of industry, and a tool for well-being. So the next time you sit down, take a moment to appreciate the incredible history beneath you. It's not just a chair, it's a piece of human history. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through time. If you found this as fascinating as I do, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind everyday objects. Let me know in the comments what object we should explore next. See you in the next video.